What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I am Daniel and we are back with another video. The transfer window has closed, at least for all European sides. Deadline day was absolutely crazy. What a deadline day. I'll quickly touch on my team, Leicester. Really disappointed, as always. I think there's a lot of changes that need to be made within the boardroom because we simply can't work fast enough on transfers. Tom Cannon is a decent signing, but with keeping Patson, Declan, Kelechi and Acho, he'll probably only really play when they're both at AFCON. Sumo left on alone, cool, great, what an entertaining day. However, it was an entertaining day across Europe and across the Premier League, so we're going to have a look and rate every single transfer that happened. Well, not every single. Some of the transfers that happened, the main ones. I've got 9 players in front of me, and we're just going to sit here and talk about them. Some of these I did predict in the video I put out. I think I said Gravenberch was in the video where I said, you know, the transfers that were going to get done. Fatty was in it. I think was Nunez in it. I think Nunez was in it. I knew about Cancelo. I can't remember if I put him in it. But still, there was a lot of big deals that did end up happening. We'll start off with one I didn't predict, and this was Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi left Everton to join Fulham for 22 million. Now, this is an interesting deal because Everton didn't bring anybody in on deadline day, did they? Unless I've just completely missed it. Maybe they brought in one person, but did they bring anybody in? You'd think I would have checked this, wouldn't you? As the doorbell goes in the background. Everton, if we have a look at transfers. No, they didn't. They didn't bring anybody in, so I'm wondering why they sort of let go of so many different players. You know, Tom Cannon, Iwobi. Iwobi is a good player, and he would have definitely helped that side, but sending him to Fulham is a massive blow. I think Everton will struggle this year. I don't think they've got the goals in that side they're going to need to survive. They're going to have a poor season. But yeah, Iwobi, I think it's a good signing for Fulham. I think he'll do well. Obviously, Fulham did need to go out and strengthen after some of their losses. They did manage to keep hold of... my mind's gone blank. Polinia. They did manage to keep hold of Polinia, which is obviously a big move. Bayern Munich, by the way, stink of a transfer deadline day for them missing out on 3 players in Chalobah, Polinia, and whoever else they missed that one. But yeah, Iwobi, good signing. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the next player, and it's one who went to Nottingham Forest from PSV. It's Ibrahima Sangare. 35 million. I've been talking about Sangare for a long time now, and I think he's an excellent player. I've got to give this one a 10 out of 10 for me. Sangare is a top-level footballer. Indeed, he was linked with Forest, whether it's clear they decided to go for Sangare in the end, and that is the better move. You know, as a Leicester fan, I know that indeed he's not that good, and while I wish Forest would have got him, because, you know, he's not that good, Sangare is a top talent and a really good player. I was tipping him to join Liverpool early on the window. I think he could have got that kind of move. It reeks of when Fulham got João Palhinha in last summer. You know, he could have gone on to get a better move, but he went to Fulham. This year, Sangare, he's gone to Forest, and I think in a year's time, if Forest, you know, whatever happens with Forest, I think he will get a big move, or at least we will be linked with those big moves. I think he's a really good signing, and yeah, I will give this one a 10 out of 10 just because I think he's such a good player. Next up, we've got Luis Sinisterra, who has left Leeds United to go to Bournemouth on a season-long loan. It's a deadline day signing, isn't it? It adds extra depth into that Bournemouth attack, and I'm sure he'll play a bit. I wasn't that impressed with him last season in the Premier League. I tipped him to be my surprise player. Or was it most whatever? I tipped him to get an award last season in the awards show he did at the start of the season. Obviously, he didn't end up doing that. I think he'll be alright. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's a massive deal. However, next up we do have a massive deal. One that came about on deadline day. It's Brennan Johnson, who left Nottingham Forest to go to Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, Nottingham Forest had a crazy deadline day, bringing in 7 players in total. However, that was all made possible because of this Brennan Johnson exit. 45 million Tottenham signed him for with about 5 million of add-ons. I think it's a decent signing for Spurs. I think he has shown that he's a good player. And 45 million in this kind of market isn't that much, especially for a side like that. Spurs has got 100 million for Harry Kane, and 45 million for a player of Brennan Johnson's standard. It's not that much. I know obviously this market's super inflated, but I think 45 million is a decent deal. Absolutely, I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. I think he's a good player, and I think he'll do well under Postecoglou. Next up, we've got a transfer which I did predict would happen. It's Ryan Gravenberch, who left Bayern Munich to go to Liverpool for 34 million. Again, I think this is a good deal. Obviously, this rounds off Liverpool's summer spending with bringing in 4 midfielders: McAllister, Szoboszlai, Endo, and last but not least, Gravenberch. It was a move that I think everybody was kind of expecting to happen without any proper moves being made on it. I think it's a good deal. I'll give this one a 8 out of 10. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Go on then. Next up, we've got another move that I didn't predict was going to happen. It's Ansu Fati, who left Barcelona to go to Brighton on a season-long loan. What a pickup by Brighton. £160,000 a week, yes, but he offers Champions League experience. No, not in the Champions League, but he offers Champions League experience for their European campaign. He's young, he's talented. If you can keep him fit for the entire season, there's a reason he was given that number 10 shirt at Barcelona. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 because there is not really much risk with it. Either he does really well and he goes back to Barcelona, or he doesn't do well and he goes back to Barcelona. You probably don't keep him either way, but I think he's a good player, and yeah, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. Next up, we have Matthias Nunez, who moved from Wolves to go to Manchester City for 50-odd million. Decent signing. I think he's a decent player. Yeah, that is what it is. It's not a transfer that set the world alight. I think City possibly could have got a better player for that kind of money. I think they possibly could have got Sangare. I think he's the better player, to be honest. But Nunez, he's got Premier League experience. I give this one a 6 out of 10. And then moving to more European transfers, we've got 3 European transfers here for you. The first one of these is Kolo Muani, who left Eintracht Frankfurt to go to PSG for around 80 million, I think it was in the end. Good signing for PSG. We all know what Kolo Muani can do, and obviously Frankfurt signed him on a free transfer just 2 years back, I think, and that shows how sort of good of a transfer that has been. We all saw what he could do at the World Cup, and he's a really, really talented individual. I think PSG have got themselves a good player. I don't know where he plays in that front line, especially with them now keeping Mbappe. Mbappe won't go to Saudi Arabia, which is the only transfer window that's still open, so the fact you've brought in somebody... You've brought in this individual as well as Ousmane Dembele, as well as Gonzalo Ramos. You know, you've got a lot of competition in that front line. But I think he's a top player, and I think he'll do well in Paris. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. And last but not least, we've got 2 players who moved to Barcelona: João Cancelo and João Felix. Both on season-long loans from Manchester City and Atletico Madrid, respectively. I'm going to give these 2 moves 7 out of 10s. Both players took wage cuts to be there, so it's obvious that they do want to go and play for Barcelona. I think they're both talented players, and I think they'll both do well at... Well, they're not at the new camp anymore, are they? I don't know where they are now. But we'll say the new camp. Anyway, what do you make to deadline day? Did your team do well in deadline day? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again in the next video. See ya!